All right, so for those of you who weren't here yesterday, here are the answers. Actually, I think it was just you.
Yeah, me.
All right, so I will just leave, I'll bring this over to you in a second. So these are the answers for the front. I'll bring it over, please. And then we did the back ones, we did those as well. So I'll bring it over.
Oh, I got that.
Oh, you did. All right, so I had asked you on page 31, we had already done the whole top of this. And now I'm asking you to give me the similarities and the differences between high and low pressure. And first of all, I do want to say that I didn't ask for much. Those boxes are small. And then on top of that, I agreed. Finding some similarities is kind of difficult. So where do you want to start? The similarities or the differences? Let's start with the differences. I want to keep it really simple. Guys, what's the weather for a high pressure? What did I ask you to remember about high pressure?
High
Is
Keep
dry.
dry.
Keep going.
High,
High, dry,
cool, and clear.
high, dry, cool, and clear. Then what? Okay, so I don't know how much I emphasized this yesterday for you guys. I don't memorize a single thing about low pressure. In fact, the only thing I remember is high, dry, cool, and clear. Then I can walk through a couple of other things. So first off, if I know high, dry, cool, and clear, do I know the weather for low pressure then too? Let's keep it right in the same order. So if I know it's high, dry,
Moist,
cool, and clear,
warm, cloudy.
so it's gonna be wet, warm, and cloudy. So right off the bat, if you know high, dry, cool, and clear, then you already know the same thing for low pressure. But I have no cool saying for low pressure. But I can say high, dry, cool, and clear all day long. High, dry, cool, and clear.
High, dry, cool, clear.
So yeah, why don't you guys do that? High, dry, cool, and clear. You'll memorize everything you need to know for high pressure. Then the only other thing is, what way does the air move? Clockwise. How did you remember that?
High,
The clock is high on the wall, so clockwise.
low.
So
So
the counter is low. And then we got to do the in and out. Go out of a high,
Yeah.
Out, and down.
out, and then into a low, and then you got it, Jeff. It's also down.
And the other one is up.
Yep. I guess I should have made those boxes a little bigger.
Right.
Again, if you just memorize this one, so I know we had a lot of information up here, but we basically just summarized it right here in, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words. If you can remember this 6 words right here, you can pretty much fill in that entire chart above. So if you remember high, dry, cool, and clear, clockwise because the clock is high on the wall, out because farts blow out of your butt, which is high pressure, and then down, remember if you're putting pressure on something, you're pushing down on it. Then that's all of it. There's nothing else to remember. So if you can remember that simple 6 things about high pressure, you can do the opposite for low pressure, and you've done everything you need to know about pressure systems with 6 words. Okay, really important that you get those 6 words. They're not, it's one of the only things this year that is not in the reference tables at all. And then did you think of any similarities?
They move.
Okay, they move. What do they affect? What they are pressure. What are the different pressures
Weather.
control? They control the weather. That's really all I got. I can't really think of.
Spiral.
Yeah, they do both spiral. Right, so they do both. They do spiral. If you really, they do all spiral. I will tell you, it's really the most important, in my opinion, similarity is that they control the weather. All right, we're gonna do a little bit. Oh wait, I actually forgot yesterday. I think we should add to our need to know facts.
Huh?
Yep. I'm gonna add to those need to know facts on the back. We used these yesterday already, so I do think it's a good thing to keep adding to this list of need to know facts.
Yeah,
You agree?
yeah.
Okay, and that's just some stuff about high pressure. So let's start with the stuff, we actually reviewed this at the beginning of class. How do we get high pressure? What is happening to give us high pressure?
The warm air is pushing down.
The what kind of air?
Cold.
Cold air. High pressure is because cold air sinks. Why does cold air sink?
Because
Because cold air sinks and warm air rises.
But why does cold air
Because
sink?
it's heavy.
Not heavy, but
It has a high density.
because
dense,
it's more dense.
Yes.
And what do we have to remember about high pressure?
It's high and dry.
Okay, so not just high and dry, keep it going.
Dry.
High, dry, cool,
Oh,
and clear. High, dry, cool, and clear. High, dry, cool, and clear. High pressure, which way does the air blow?
Out.
Out. Keep going. Down. And which wise? Clockwise. How do we get low pressure? What's the air got to do to give us low pressure?
Warm air rises.
Yep. Warm air rises or goes up, whichever you like better. Why does warm air rise?
Because of low density.
Because it's, yep, less dense. Now, again, you can memorize the low pressure stuff, or you can just memorize the high pressure stuff and remember then the opposites for the low pressure, but we'll do it right now. Low pressure, it's not high, dry, cool, and clear. What's low pressure?
It's low, wet, warm, and quiet.
And just opposite of the high, dry, cool, and clear. And it doesn't move out, down, and clockwise. It moves in, up, and counterclockwise. And one last bullet that I want for wind.
Just two things.
I want to know which way the wind blows. From what to what?
I don't know.
Wind blows from high to low. We've done a lot. That's almost a whole page of need to know facts. But they all kind of tie together. Speaking of all the things we've done so far, I don't know if you noticed up here in the green, I somehow forgot to give you a quiz for the entire third quarter. I'm not gonna start for the third quarter now, but I'm gonna bring back quizzes for the fourth quarter. I'm gonna try to do one almost every week. I think it's going to be between 10 and 15 questions. And they're going to be straight out of our notes or homework. or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you can.
So if you're doing notes and you're doing homework, and they will not be open notes and open book or open whatever. But if you are keeping up and reviewing your notes and doing your homework, you should be okay. If you're not, then I highly recommend going back, watching videos, filling in the notes, kind of paying attention when we go over the homework. So I am gonna try and bring those back almost once a week. They don't count for huge amounts of your grade. I think it's 10, it might be 15% of your grade. But it will show you if you're on point for the test that would be coming up shortly, or if you need a lot of work for the test. So that is what I'm gonna try and keep doing. First one's gonna be on Thursday. Quarter 3 ends on Friday. I think we talked about this already, but just a reminder, this is most important for lab. It doesn't matter who you have for lab, but all your labs need to be in. This quarter goes from the deposition lab, which was way back in January, to the sweating about science lab, which is the one we just did with the sling psychrometers that you gotta spin around. The one that you started today or yesterday or tomorrow, depending on who you have, that won't go in the grade book until 4th quarter. And then just to make life seem a little bit more doable, hopefully, there's 42 class days left. Which I will also point out means only 21 lab periods. So that's even more exciting.
Those are so funny.
I'm saying. Okay, so these don't count
kinda
weekends.
scary.
That's just class days. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm excited or scared. Either way, it's happening.
I'm
So,
always scared of
Why would you be
weekends.
scared?
cause there's only 42 class days left, and guys, what's high pressure? What's the weather for? High pressure? That's why I'm scared, because we just went over it 5 seconds ago and you can't repeat it. I'm a little nervous for the final exam if we can't remember stuff from 5 minutes ago. Okay, good.
Me too, I think I'm gonna fail
can
the
fail
global
it,
one though.
well, I
I'm gonna
did
fail
on
the
this
global.
too.
So we can talk more when we have some more time one-on-one. If you wanna hit me up during lab, I can pretty much, not that kind of up. But if you guys are doing okay on tests and quizzes and homework, then you probably don't have anything to worry. There's some loopholes of how to avoid failing. We'll talk more one-on-one. But honestly, I'm not very concerned about any of you.
Makes sense.
Not a single one of you in this room am I too worried about. Okay, not looking at you
You're
specifically.
looking at me.
No, I have to turn my head, you're the only one I have to turn my head to see, so I went and looked in everybody's face, and I had to turn to see you. The only reason it was obvious, everybody else got just an eyeball.
Okay.
No, not me.
I got a full face. I'll full.
I am not worried about anyone. We will talk though, if you are worried, we'll talk when you have some time, not in front of the whole class. Anyway, we have been jumping all over the place. I would like, you know what, while we're here, I'm gonna talk about your homework. So since we have that quiz, what's gonna be on that quiz? Everything we've done so far in this packet. So going back to the beginning, we learned about temperature. We converted between Celsius, Fahrenheit, and Kelvin. Then we went and we did air pressure. So we talked about what instruments are used to measure air pressure, how they're shown on a weather map, converted between millibars and inches of mercury. We did the wind. We talked again about the instruments used to measure wind. We talked about how wind blows from high to low pressure. We talked about when it's during the day. Let's see if you guys can review this one. If it's during, so don't turn to this page. I don't want you just copying out what you did in your packet. So here we have a blank sea breeze and a land breeze. Don't turn to this page. So one time you try to turn to your page.
Wait, what? You don't want me to?
I want to talk about how do we know on a sea breeze which way the wind will be blowing. So this is during the day. Notice the sunshine. During the day, it's warmer where? The water or the land is warmer during the day? Land is
Land.
warmer because why?
It
Has
has a
lower
low.
specific heat.
Actually, it's a higher specific heat, but
Right.
Whatever, same.
yep, so it's got a higher no, I'm sorry, you're right. The
Yeah,
land,
about the-
I'm sorry, the land has a lower specific heat, so it heats up faster. The water is cooler because it takes a really long time to heat up.
almost as if you-
So I know, I was, in my head, I was talking about the lake and out of my mouth came the land.
No,
so-
we're not.
But anyway, because the water is cool, is it going to be a high or a low pressure over the cool?
It's gonna have to be a high.
Yes, this is high pressure over the land. Why, or I said it again, over the water. Why is it high pressure over the land? Water.
Pressure is cold.
Because cold, what does cold air do?
Times,
It's more dense and it sinks, so it's pushing down. So then over the land, it's warmer. What does warm air do?
Right.
Warm air rises, so what's the pressure gonna be?
high.
Low.
What? Oh,
If
yeah.
it's rising, then you're
Yeah.
not pushing
Yeah.
down. So which way is the wind gonna blow? From the water to the land, from high to low. You need to be able to recreate that.
I don't even have that page.
This is page 27.
Okay, we don't have that.
Excuse me, that's blank.
Yeah.
Holy cannoli, I'm
Oh.
glad we went over this. So turn to
And then we have a little bit of notes right here.
No? What do I turn to?
page 27.
Wait, why did you have it? Yeah, we have some. What
Yep, sounds like a bunch of you were absent and did not.
Handwriting.
Sounds like a bunch of you were absent and
it
did
done.
not do the work. Okay, great.
Not do it.
When was I absent?
You were absent, you went on a field trip to the jail.
Wait, what word did you have?
She's got none.
Oh,
'cause-
yeah. Probably have this.
Yep, so you were absent for the second day of that and you did not make up the word. For those of you who were absent, you can either go back and watch the video or at least fill in what we just filled in here.
Okay,
The Lake Erie is cool. Do you guys know why Lake Erie is cooler?
Because it has a higher specific.
Right, during the day, it has a higher specific heat, so it takes it longer to warm up. So it's cooler on the water.
Sorry.
Land is warm because it has land is warmer because it's got the lower specific heat and it heats up really fast. And then we know wind blows from high to low. Now let's talk about the land. Which one is at night? At nighttime, which one's cooler at night?
The land.
Land is cooler
Because it has a lower.
because it has a lower specific heat. So it cools off faster. The water cools off slower since it's warmer. Which one's gonna have the high pressure then, the water or the land?
Land.
Land is gonna have the high pressure because cold air sinks, warm air rises. And again, wind always blows from what pressure to what pressure?
High to low.
High to low.
So easy.
This explains why it's warmer outside. Yeah.
That's the specific heat
I
stuff.
went over
love
that, but-
swimming at night because the pool's so warm. Right now is freezing.
Oh, well, that does not explain, none of
Freezing.
this explains that. That's if they didn't turn the heater on.
Literally give you goosebumps.
They just didn't turn the
It's
heater on.
inside,
They- I'm gonna keep going here.
I know that though.
So, hey, guys, quiz
Sorry.
will include the temperature, the pressure, the wind stuff, including knowing all of the weather instruments. You'll need to know, are high, dry, cool, and clear? Clockwise. You will need to know high, dry, cool, clear, clockwise, out and down, and then the opposite. I know, it's never been fixed.
Never messed up.
Okay, the next thing you will need to know is relative humidity and dew point. That will be it for the test or quiz. It's only going to be, like I said, 10 to 15 questions. Here, did you still need that? 10 to 15 questions, so pretty much one question for everything we just talked about. And guys, I'm telling you, it's coming straight out of your packet. So if you've done your homework and you understood your homework, you didn't just skip over it, didn't just circle answers, didn't just fill it in when I went over it, then you'll be pretty good. You will have homework tonight to help you review for the quiz. It is page 24, so the first page of the packet, well, I guess technically it's the second page of the packet. The back of the first piece of paper.
Mhm.
So there are 7 questions there. If you're struggling with any of these 7 questions, flip back to the temperature page. Same with the next one. So the next one is page 26. Again, a handful of Regents questions about pressure. If you're lost on any of this, flip back to the page before it. So yes, it is 17 questions. So it's about the length of the quiz, but most of them they're not gonna be all temperature and pressure.
Do we have to use that conversion chart?
You will have to use the conversion chart. So yep, you will probably need your reference table to take home and do your homework. But in the meantime, we're gonna talk about one more new concept on page 36. This will not be on the quiz. But it's nothing we haven't really done before. We're talking about condensation. You guys have used this word already this year. Did somebody speak? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Kim said constipation.
Not constipation, condensation. Give me an example of condensation, because I think you're better with condensation.
Dog.
The log?
Dog.
That's still constipation.
Window.
What about the windows?
Condensation.
The dew on the windows, how about? Might be too warm.
Not.
That's condensation. How
That's
about
disgusting.
when I touch my hand to this desk? What's gonna be left behind?
Your hand.
A handprint. Everybody always thinks that that's sweaty hands. It's not sweaty hands. I often see when I'm coming over to help kids, they see like a sweaty handprint and they're like, before they
Yeah.
start talking to me, because they're like, I don't want her to think I have sweaty hands. I don't think it's sweaty hands, because it's just condensation. It happens on the desks in front of you too, the ones you're sitting at, you just don't see it, because it's not that black material. Give me some more examples of condensation.
Water bottle. Yeah.
Water bottles. So when you have a sweaty water bottle, that's condensation. What else?
Glasses.
Glasses. This happens. I
Oh,
hated wearing glasses.
Hey.
Whether it was going from cold outside to a warm inside, fogged
When
up.
you're in a hot tub outside, dude, that makes,
Ooh.
oh my god, it was the best. Yeah, it was really
So
nice.
guys, you guys have good examples for condensation, but what the heck is condensation?
Water.
It's water. Is it liquid, gas,
Water
or
vapor, it's
liquid, gas, or solid water?
gas.
Yeah, it's liquid.
With water.
No, the condensation
Oh.
itself. It's liquid. So going back to, see right here where see where it says example? See that one line above the word example? That's where we're writing. So everybody turn to page 36 and go right there above the word example. And what are we putting there? We are putting. This is not it. Do not write that. We're writing this. Condensation is the change of phase from water vapor, so gas water, to liquid water. So when I was breathing on the window, when it was still coming out of my mouth, that was still gas water, so water vapor. There wasn't any liquid coming out of my mouth, but when it hit the cold window, it turned to the liquid fog or whatever you want to call that on the window. Same with the condensation on your cold pop bottle or pop can in the summer. The air is holding gas water, and then it hits your cold cup and liquid forms on the outside.
Oh.
Condensation is
It
liquid.
turns into a liquid.
Yes. So condensation is that going from a gas to a liquid water.
Like transformers.
It does. It transforms from gas to liquid water. You guys all, so now I want examples.
Just like Shrek, because he an ogre, and ogres are like
I don't
onions,
think anything like
and
Shrek.
onions have like.
No, stay with me.
Spider-Man.
So one example is the one I think most of you guys went with, was water on the outside of a cold pop can in the summer. I have some more up here, you don't have to write them all. Water on the mirror after a shower.
That's only if you take hot shower.
Well, it's not only if you take hot showers, you could take a warmish shower in a cold, cold room, and you would have that condensation.
Put the hot handle all the way, or full way.
I agree too.
Burn your skin off.
Yep,
It's better.
No, because then. it
dew
makes
on
me
the grass,
itchy.
you don't have to write all of these, I'm just giving you some examples. Fog, so you did say fog earlier. Clouds are another time there's condensation. So again, just get one of those good examples in there and you're good. What do all of those examples have, or at least the more common ones, the first three? The more everyday ones, not just the sciencey ones. What do all three of those have in common? Or when we were talking about putting our hands on the desk and making cold and warm. So the air in my mouth was pretty darn warm,
Pretty freaking warm.
pretty freaking warm. Hit the cool window. My hand, when you touch your desk or you touch the table, they're colder than your hands. Same with the water on the outside of a cold pop can. I don't have water forming on the outside of my coffee mug, so it's not warm and warm. We need that cold temperature.
So if you put your warm coffee in a frozen glass.
Put my warm coffee in a frozen glass, except for the only problem with that is I guess maybe condensation might form on the inside of the glass and mix with the coffee and I'd never see it. I think, but I am confused.
We'll test it.
You're making me think
Try it.
too hard right now.
We'll
I will think about it when I'm not,
Experiment.
yeah, we can experiment later. Same with the dew on the grass. The grass is colder than the air when the dew is forming. So they all have to do with that cold going to warm. And thinking about these, can you explain why that happened?
Because.
Space.
No,
Science.
What?
science, ding, ding, ding. Write that on the regions, would you?
Science.
Because science.
I just say so that.
They warm up the.
So which one of these was coming out of my mouth when I blew on the window?
The big one.
Big, warm air. And what do we know about warm air?
Right,
Takes up more space.
Not only does it take up more space, but it can then, because it takes up more space,
Hold
Holds more-
warm air holds more water. So the warm air is floating around, holding lots of water. And it touches a cold pop can. Now what happens to this air? Ooh, I like that. Okay, that now instead of being warm air that's holding some water, now it's cold air. Cold air can't hold as much water.
Oh,
So now it gets 100% filled up and voila,
it's raining.
it's raining or dewing or condensating, whatever you want to call it.
How does cold get cold?
Cheese ball.
Because-
Animal crackers.
Because there's ice. What do you?
And how does worm, why is worm?
Well, you have to add energy or take away energy, but I think you're getting off topic. So then exactly what happens when condensation happens, I want this underneath where we just wrote the example. Condensation happens when that warm, wet air hits a cold surface. Cold air can't hold as much water, so it turns into liquid water. So,
What's your favorite season?
spring.
Summer. Why the spring?
Why is my favorite, why is it spring?
Why is it-
Because
A lot of
tilt the earth, the direct
condensation.
angle of the sun at the equator. So what you
Why is it
meant?
not summer?
A lot of condensation.
is it your favorite?
Oh, you didn't
100%
specify.
100% humidity.
Not during the spring, look at it right now, cause right now is perfect, cause I don't like to sweat, but I also don't like to be cold, so I want something in the like. Fall's okay, except for then you got, leaves that mix with dog poop, and then you don't
Ew.
know which is which, and there's all that. Density of air. What do we know about the density of air? Hopefully you know, this was just reviewing
Oh.
this. This, you should already know this, but we're writing it down in case you forgot. Warm air rises because it's less dense. That should not be news. That we have talked about, we just wrote it on the back of our need to know facts, and so it is something you should have already known, but it's really important for talking about clouds.
Is that why some clouds are higher than others? Did you know I've been in the clouds before?
Yeah, sure.
I've been in clouds like
Okay.
20-something months. Yes.
All right, let's talk
Yeah.
about clouds.
Cause I was
Guys, here's a cloud. Here's a cloud forming. Let's talk about it.
that was more.
We're gonna start with, what's going on here? What's the air do at the beginning?
Rises.
It rises. Why is the air rising?
Warm.
Because it's warm. So the warm air is rising. What happens as warm air rises?
The relative humidity.
Colder. It gets colder.
Hey, you're almost, hang on. Hang on, first, what did you guys say?
It's
Get colder. Why does warm air get colder as it goes
When
up?
it goes Going away into from the the- candle, it gets colder and comes back down.
Okay, good. Warm air goes up. As it goes up, it's rising. It's less dense. If we took hot, sweaty humans and spread them apart, what would happen to those hot, sweaty humans? They cool down. Just like these air molecules, the warm air is rising, but while they're rising, they cool. And then Jeff, pick up where you were. They cool so much that they do what? You were talking about dew point. You were talking about dew point though.
The point of temperature is the same.
The temperature drops until it hits the dew point. And what happens when temperature hits the dew point?
Rain.
Okay, water droplets form and we get rain. Perfect. That's where we're gonna finish this up. So formation of clouds, I know this is long, but it's really what we just talked about. Warm air rises. As it's rising, it cools. Ryder, get your stuff up. Air hits its dew point, just like Jeff said. When air hits its dew point, water droplets form. Voila, you got a cloud. And then there's a new vocab word in there. I'll wait till you get to that new vocab word.
I don't even know how to say that.
It's my favorite earth science word, adiabatic cooling.
Why do you say it like that?
Because that, you have to say it like that, adiabatic.
No,
Because it's a fun word. It's
I
fun,
don't-
adiabatic. You don't agree? Oh, tough, I do. Adiabatic cooling just means air cools as it rises. So I could have replaced warm air rises as it's rising, it cools, that whole first line. I could have just replaced that with adiabatic cooling, air hits its dew point, water droplets form, done. Once you're done with that, we are done for the day, and like I said, you do have homework, 24 and 26 is your homework. I can help you out, what's up? Are you on your homework? Which one? How about we do it that way? What page? 26, which number? 14. So temperature and density, so think of that as cold. If it's cold, we have high or low.
Just make sure you-
So.
Yeah.
cold, you want on-
Yeah.
This one is cold, would be low.
Probably, I wanna be food first.
Just walk through it like that. I'm really hard.
Yeah.
Go through all of that, yeah.
Right down there. Yeah, do you wanna meet me like in the lunchroom?
You guys have about 5 minutes.
Will you write me a pass to come down
Mhm.
there? Yeah.
Are you guys together?
No.
Oh, you don't, when do you have study hall then?